What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Fire Talk. Here after I truly consider it conquering our demons, whatever you want to call it, because we have finally beat the Rockies in a series, in a 5 game series. We took 4 games, and I think everyone was kind of expecting a sweep, but very hard to sweep a team in 5 games. So if it was a 4 game series, it would have been a 4 game sweep, coming off one of the most electric atmospheres yesterday. Chase, 2 games in with Juan Soto and Josh Bell, Brandon Drury, a lot of these guys that we acquired at the deadline. And how fun was it watching the game, or if you were able to watch the game, how fun was it yesterday? And I don't know if you're able to watch the game today, but what did you think of today also?
It was just today's game. We won't talk as much about that.
Yeah.
Joe's kind of hit a rough patch. We kind of seen that he's done that throughout his career. He did last year. I think he's going to be fine in a couple games. He's just going to work some things out. His location was off with some of his off speed. I know he was intending to throw some of them straight down the middle if they just didn't break the way he wanted to. He didn't have the best control. But outside of that, the guys that we acquired made instant impacts. I don't think Josh Bell got a hit yesterday, but he walked 2 or 3 times yesterday. Soto got on base a couple times. Yeah, so Bell walked twice yesterday. Soto walked twice yesterday and got a hit. And then he got 2 hits today with a couple of walks. Bell hit his RBI single. Drury hit a grand slam yesterday. These guys are making instant impacts. We had trouble getting guys on base, and let's see, Bell and Soto have gotten on base like 6 times in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
That's incredible for us. We were struggling with getting guys on base, hitting people in. Bell had RBI, Drury hits a grand slam, Soto gets himself on base 5 times in 2 games. It's just incredible. We had Hader close out the game a couple days ago. That was incredible to see. Well, not necessarily. Was it a safe situation? I can't remember.
I don't know how many runs they were up.
No, it
But
wasn't a safe situation because Grish came up and then hit a.
It was a tie game. Yeah, top of the ninth. Right.
Yeah. But still, no run score. He strikes out a couple guys. It was amazing to see. Couldn't ask for anything better out of the series outside of today's game, which
today's game left. Yeah, exactly. Today's game probably left a sour taste in some people's mouth, but we took 4 out of 5 from a team that has dominated us, especially these past 2 years. Even though they're not that good, for some reason they've given us fits. So that was really good to see. I feel like just the energy from this team is a lot different. I'll compare it to that 2020 trade deadline when they traded for Mike Clevenger, Austin Nola, a few difference makers that year. The energy was just different. The Padres went on this roll where they ended up in a 60-game season, 37-23, and a lot of those wins came in the back half after the trade deadline, where I think you might get that this season as well. They need around 29 wins to be able to get to that 90-win mark. If I believe they go 29-25, they'll get to that 90-win mark. So hopefully they'll be able to do that. I do think they'll be able to do that. It was very important to be able to get guys like Soto, Bell, Hader, because you are going to play the Dodgers 9 times in September, and you want to be able to take at least five of those, hopefully 4 or 5 of those. So we'll see how that goes. I know the Dodgers had Clayton Kershaw go down today with the lower back injury, but I'm not going to pray for injury on any of those guys. But we'll see how that goes with the Padres and the Dodgers. Obviously, big series coming up this weekend with those two. So I haven't checked out the pitching matchups. I'll probably talk about it at the end of the stream. But what did I want to talk about? So I wanted to talk about Joe Musgrove, because obviously he's been struggling. I believe he's like at around a 5.5 or a 6 ERA in his last 7 appearances, and I'm not worried. It's been a little bit. He's had like 1 solid game in the past few starts that I can remember. I believe I was at for that Giants Padres game. But Chase, what do you think of Joe Musgrove? How do you feel about him?
I'm not too worried. We saw this last year. He went through
exactly.
a really rough stretch of games. Like I think it was 5 or 6 starts where he was getting roughed up a lot. He made the adjustment later on, but he's still, he's prone to have a few bad outings. Every pitcher is. But with kind of the help around the lineup, hopefully that lessens his burden on I got to be perfect every single game. And hopefully when he does have a bad outing, our offense shows up a little bit more than they did today. You scored 3 runs with that lineup. Yeah, normally, you put up 9 yesterday. 4 come off 1 swing, but normally, you want this lineup to get more than 3 runs. Realistically, this team should average 4 to 5 runs a game with the lineup that we have, especially once Tatis is back. That's the only missing factor as of right now. But not too worried about Musgrove. Like I said, even last year, he had a few bad outings in a row. You'll turn it around.
Yeah, he had a few of those last year where he'd go like, 5, 6 solid starts, have like 2 or 3 bad games in a row. It was just something that he did last year as well. I think he's at a 3 ERA now, so hopefully he's able to turn it around here pretty fast. We'll see how he does down the road, but I know he's going to be a super super key part come August and September. So hopefully he's able to bounce back really fast. He's going to be very integral in being able to get to that 90 win mark. Hopefully get the 4th seed. Being 10 games back of the Dodgers, I mean, the only time I can remember being 10 games up on a division was in 2010 when we ended up not making the playoffs because we blew a 10-game lead or whatever it was. But, 10 games is very hard to blow, especially when you are the best team in baseball, that being the Dodgers. So hopefully we're able to get that 4th or 5th seed. Big series against them this weekend. I actually want to look up the pitching matchups right now. But one thing that I was actually very, very happy about was when the Padres went down 6-0, even 3-0, I guess, it still felt like they were going to win. It still felt like they were going to come back and do it. Whereas if you go back to the previous lineups without Bell, without Drury and Soto, like, you're out of the game by the time it's 3-0. Most likely the Padres are losing that game. Although they did lose today, it did end up being 7-3. They were able to put some runs on the board. So I just like the feeling of knowing you're not out of the game no matter what. And especially that's going to be even better when Fernando comes back. But what was I going to ask? I was going to ask something about the lineup. What do you do with the lineup? I don't know if you were here when we talked about it last time, but what do you do with the lineup when Fernando's back? Who do you take out, or what do you do with the bench pieces?
Hold up. I'm trying to figure out, like, what do you mean by do with the bench pieces? Like, pinch
Well, there's
hitters,
there's
or
gonna be Will Myers. There's
who
gonna
do
be
you
Hassan
bench?
Kim. Yeah, Will Myers, Hassan Kim, Nomar Mazara. There's gonna be a few guys on the bench. I truly think it's like a championship caliber bench with I mean, you got guys like Will Myers and Hassan Kim sitting the bench, so that's pretty big. They're essentially depth pieces, and they're really good depth pieces, I think.
That is true. I think Myers is more of like a platoon player than he is a bench player. I mean, you're probably going to have him either, splitting time with Profar, or, I wouldn't say Soto necessarily. He might come in as like a defensive substitute for Soto, and Soto, moves to DH, and so move from DH moves down. I think that's how they play it out. But I do think Myers is not just going to be a bench piece, considering he played today. I don't think he played yesterday, but he played the day before. He's going to be one of those guys that when he gets hot, he'll help the team when he's going to force his way into the lineup. But when Tatis gets back, it doesn't really change anything for Myers, just because him and Bell are going to be splitting time at first base anyway. Just because Myers is slightly defensively better at first, and having Bell in a DH role, it's kind of nice. I mean, he can just focus on hitting. He doesn't strike out a lot, so you're going to have him every day in your lineup. It's just sort of like, okay, it's between him and Drury on who do you want in the lineup. And as of right now, you probably want Drury, but you can make an argument for both. Ha-Seong Kim is a little bit harder. He's definitely going to be a bench piece, just because, he's not going to out-hit Cronenworth. He's not going to out-hit Tatis or Machado. He doesn't play any outfield spots, but being able to get them their rest and having a solid bat is always great. I really don't care for Mazara. If you guys have seen his numbers recently, they have fallen off the planet, especially his OPS. OPS has dropped off the face of the earth. So yeah, I'm not too worried about that. But our bench has just we may have the best bench in baseball. Trying to think of a better bench before.
Yeah, I think that's a good statement, considering like Ha-Seong Kim is a 2-3 WAR player on the bench right now. Will Myers is like a 1-5 to 2-5 WAR player typically, and he's on the bench. Like, it's a very good bench to have. And yeah, Nomar Mazara has been kind of trash, but that's somebody that you want coming off the bench rather than consistently being in your starting lineup. And that's what we're going to see. Hopefully Kim still gets his playing time against lefties, because the Dodgers bench is always pretty good. But hopefully Kim still gets his playing time against lefties because obviously he's been fantastic against lefties. Um, there's a guy that caught fire recently. There's obviously Ha-Seong Kim has been on fire for the whole month of July, but there is a guy that caught fire recently, and that's Trent Grisham. Trent Grisham, I don't know what his stats in his last 7 games are. I'll pull him up right now, but he's caught fire. It's luckily at a good time because we know that's not going to keep up for that long. Obviously, if it does keep up, it's going to be so good for the offense. You'll have a much deeper offense, but going based off Trent Grisham's trends, it's probably going to be like a nice 2-week stint before we get the Trent Grisham that we know. But in his last 7 games, he's batting .292 with what's 370 plus
That's an
750.
absurd slugging.
Yeah, he's hitting.
It's an 1120.
Yeah, he's hitting for power a lot right now. He's got like three home runs in the past 4 or 5 games, something like that. So he's been really good. Even I don't know, I haven't been paying too much attention to him on defense, but at the plate, as someone at the bottom of your lineup, he's been bringing runs in. He hit a walk-off home run that, hopefully this is a turn for Trent Grisham. Hopefully it's like a 360 of last year where he was solid to begin the season, then he sucked. Hopefully this time he sucked to begin the season and he's solid the rest of the way. I'm really hoping that's what we get because center field's kind of a moot point right now where he's really the only reliable guy to throw out there in terms of really everyone else that you got. Yeah, in terms of defense, exactly. So that is really the only reliable guy to throw out there. So he needs to turn it around for sure.
My only concern with that is like you look at yesterday's game. Sure, he got a hit, but he also struck out 3 times. Then you look at today's game. I think he didn't walk at all. He just went 0 for 3 with 3 strikeouts.
Today, too?
So when he's not hitting, he is basically an automatic strikeout. Is what it feels like.
100%. 100%. I agree, too. Like I said, I don't expect this to keep up. I'm really hoping he's able to turn the tide because that'd be huge for this offense. And you don't want to feel uncertainty in center field. You don't want to have to feel like you got to throw Fernando out there and stuff like that. Obviously, you want to keep Fernando at shortstop, but if Trent Grisham's not producing, especially against lefties, you're going to have games where you throw Fernando out in center field and you throw Ha-Seong Kim at short. And I think that's the best way to maximize the lineup, truly. It is tough to have Fernando out there because he's not that good of a center fielder or even an outfielder in general, but this is how I think you maximize the lineup. I don't know who off the bench you can get that.
Actually, hold on. What if you did Kim, Profar in center, and Myers in left?
You could do that, or did Profar, was it this year or last year that Profar played center?
Last year. I don't think he's played any this year. Myers has experience in center field too at Petco.
I don't want to do that.
I don't want Myers in center either, but that is always an option.
Yeah,
if you want to go full slugging.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He's pretty good at left field. I like Will in left. He's fine out there. But that is another way to maximize it. Maybe what did you say, Kim DH or Tatis DH?
Either or. I'd probably throw Kim at short and then have Tatis DH. Just kind of scared of him at short coming right off that injured wrist. So
right. Yeah. So hopefully, it's all about maximizing the lineup, being able to go out and put the best lineup every single day. And I think having Ha-Seong Kim in there against lefties is the best way.
Do you put Drury at second then and sit Cronenworth, or what do you do there?
I'm not sitting Cronenworth for nothing, but
let me check out lefties.
Yeah, even against lefties. Let me check out Drury. I don't know.
At second base.
I don't know how much second base because he's played like
he played second today.
Did he really?
He did.
Oh, yes, you're right. Cronenworth is on the bench. I don't know. I just don't think Cronenworth's a bat you sit. Like, even if he's not what he normally is, like I'm not sitting Cronenworth for someone like Will Myers or Ha-Seong Kim or anything like that. Like, even if it's against lefties, I'll try and look at the splits right now. But
Drury's a monster against lefties.
Yeah, Drury's a guy that I don't really want to sit no matter what. Even if it's at DH, but that's kind of a good problem. It's a really good problem to have for this Padres team right now because there's so many guys that you want in the lineup. Can't fit them all, but you find ways to be able to get different guys in the lineup and that's really good for the depth and everything. Because last year we didn't really have much depth, and it kind of cost us. So hopefully, luckily, we got depth this time around.
Absolutely. Um, Going into this Dodgers series, we have Gonsolin versus Mania, Clevenger versus Andrew Heaney, and then Darvish versus Tyler Anderson.
Hmm.
What do you
Okay,
expect from the series?
I expect to win the Clevenger and Darvish start. Um, I'll just say Jake Cronenworth splits real quick against lefties. He's hitting 242 with a 702 OPS, so the power is down in that aspect. But versus righties, 245 with a 775 OPS, so he's got more power against righties, and he's able to hit for a decent average against lefties. Um, but going back to your question, I expect to win that Clevenger and Darvish start. Clevenger has been really good as of late. Him and Snell have essentially been the best pitchers on our staff these past 5-6 games that they've been out there. So um, they've them two have been super exciting to watch. We've been bumping Blake Snell after the All-Star break for freaking months, like just saying be patient because he's going to be super good. And he's finally starting to turn it around. Mike Clevenger, I'm pretty sure he might have he might have been the best pitcher in the past 7 games that he's pitched. In terms of all of them, he might be the best as of right now, and it's not really a surprise if he is, because he came in as the guy with the lowest ERA, like year in and year out, a top 15 pitcher in baseball. So in his last 7 games, Mike Clevenger has a 2.83 ERA and 37 strikeouts in how many innings? In 41 innings. So he's absolutely also been fantastic. And Darvish, even though last time in Dodger Stadium, Darvish got roughed up. Like he did get super roughed up, but that was at a time where like I just think I just think yeah, I got you. I just think the vibes were down in that one just because I mean, there was a bunch of injuries. I forgot who you lost in that series, but it was pretty tough in that series to go in there and feel confident winning any of those games. Luckily, we were able to come out with one, but this time it's a lot different. You're going in with Juan Soto, Josh Bell, Brandon Drury, like a bunch of different acquisitions, and it's very exciting. So coming into this one, I do expect to lose that Mania start. Last time they faced Mania, they put up a 10 spot on him, I believe, and he doesn't throw for much velocity, but maybe he'll be able to pull one off just because the Dodgers historically like haven't. I don't know. Maybe their stats say different, but from what I've seen, haven't been the best against lefties. So hopefully, Mania is able to turn the tides this time around, and I think I know what to expect from the other two.
I have to agree with you. The Mania one's the only one I'm not entirely confident in, just because one, they did put up a 10 spot on him, and two, it feels like sometimes Bomel leaves Mania in for far too long. Just he'll be like, okay, Mania's at 90 pitches in the 6th inning or in the 5th inning. Let's throw him out there for the 6th and see if we can get 6 out of him. And then that's when Mania gets absolutely rocked the following inning. And there will be
Mm-hmm.
signs that Mania is going to get let up a few runs. Like he starts to get hit hard, and then there'll be 2 guys on, and he still won't pull Mania. He won't pull Mania until Mania gives up another run or two, and then put more guys on base, and then it usually comes in like a guy comes in and then he gives up all those runs, and then another 3 runs are charged to Mania. So
Yeah.
I think you try to get 5 innings out of Mania. Don't push 6, and then let your bullpen take over from there. And I think you have a chance at winning that game. And again, it really depends on how fast we can get Tony Gonsolin out of the game. I know last time I think he went 6-7 innings against us because we just couldn't get him out of the game.
Yeah. He went 7 strong against us last time. And that was at a time where we kept saying like, Tony Gonsolin's not the type of guy that goes past 6 innings. Nonetheless, he goes like 7 2/3 against us. So that's just because the Padres weren't the type of team that took a lot of pitches that got deep into the counts and fouled off balls, stuff like that. And now you're going in with 2 guys that have a really low swing rate, foul off the ball a lot. Like Juan Soto and Josh Bell are super instrumental for this lineup because of their ability to have long, good at bats and be able to get on base and make the pitcher work the count. Like they're really good at working the count. So they're going to be huge for this series also, because a lot of the time, especially last year too, like you saw the Padres go up against these pitchers that would go 7 or 8 innings and still only have 85, 90 pitches. So adding those two guys, sorry, Bell and Soto, is huge to be able to work the count. So I do expect the Padres to win the series, though. I just think with these acquisitions, with the energy that they've had recently, I think they're pumped. I think they're going to go into the series very competitive. So hopefully they're able to come away with two and really, this is a statement series. You like, yes, it's an August series against a team that you're like down 10.5 games, whatever it is. But I do believe this is a statement series to show the Dodgers, like, this isn't the same team that you've been beating up on for the last 15, 20 games, whatever it is. This is absolutely a different team. So I was expecting Fernando to be back in this series. I don't know. It doesn't look likely, but hopefully, he's able to come back in July and we'll be all right.
You said come back in July.
I meant September. I meant September.
But yeah, even after the Dodgers, we have the Giants who have been struggling. We got the Nationals who just sold their team to us. Basically, we should beat up on the Marlins, and we got the Washington again. We got the Cleveland Padres, and then the Royals and Giants again. After this Dodgers series, we should absolutely obliterate all these teams that we are playing. Like, you may be able to lose like one series or take a couple splits, but outside of that, you should win the majority of the games here because that's what you're going to need to do if you want to take the 4 seed. If not, try to push your way towards the 1 seed. Because realistically, with the lineup you have and the team you have, the rotation, you don't want to just settle for the 4th spot. You want to go for the 1 spot as much as you can. So you need to win against the Dodgers. You need to win the majority of these games. You play the Dodgers another 9 times after this, you are going to have to do your thing. And I know we had the potential to lose 2 games this series. We're not full strength. We're still missing Tatis. But if we could sweep the Dodgers without Tatis, that's a statement.
100%. Like I said, this is absolutely a statement series. Even if the Dodger team doesn't believe so, this was absolutely in the attempt to be able to compete with the Dodgers, the Mets, the Braves. Those teams are top tier teams that have put together very, very good seasons. And I really don't want to face the Braves in the playoffs, or not the Braves, sorry, the Mets.
The Mets.
You don't want to face it. So let's say you play a 3-game series against them. You face Jacob deGrom, Max Scherzer, and probably Bassett or Carrasco, or maybe that's the thing. They could go either of the back 3.
It's Walker.
Bassett, Carrasco,
Walker. Solid.
Walker's last time I checked, he was like a 2.82 ERA. He's been fantastic. So
I wanted them to sign Walker. Yeah, I wanted the Padres to sign him.
Hopefully we don't have to play the Mets. I would rather play the Dodgers or the Braves in a 3-game series. In a 7-game series, I'm fine with playing the Mets. Obviously, he's probably going to play DeGrom and Scherzer twice, but I'd rather play him in a 7 than a 3, because in a 3, you're probably losing to DeGrom and maybe to Scherzer. I know we beat him last time, but ideally, I don't want to face him at all. That lineup doesn't scare me too much, but I don't want to face
DeGrom. DeGrom scares me.
Yeah, DeGrom doesn't need help. Also, what was I gonna say? I don't know. I think this team is gonna have a lot of fun this back half of the season. I think it's gonna be a very good energy for all the fans that showed up. That was super fantastic. That was truly like, wow, this is one of the best fan bases in all of baseball. That was like telling, I think Juan Soto and Josh Bell, Brandon Drury, they were surprised. And I think this is going to be like an atmosphere that they're going to want to stay in, even if we don't have the money to be able to do so, or even if we can't keep them. I think they're going to love being in San Diego. So, I don't know. I'm super excited for this back half of the season, these last 50, 60 games, whatever it is. Hopefully we're able to pull off those, 28, 29 wins, and we're able to get to that 90 win mark, because we haven't seen a 90-win Padres team in a really long time. So hopefully they're able to get to that mark and get on a really hot streak going into the playoffs. But I don't really have anything else.
With that being said, I unfortunately have to go right now. But I expect not a sweep, but I expect that we take 2 out of 3. Hopefully Tatis is back within the next week, and see y'all. Oh, and y'all better start appreciating Josh Bell as much as you guys do Soto. I know the media has been hyping up Soto, but Josh Bell deserves his respects too.
Yeah, guy's batting 300.
That being said,
Fantastic.
Peace out.
All right, Chase. All right, it's just me now. Um, I'll probably only be on for like another 5 minutes, but if you guys have any questions, let me know, and I'll try to answer them. It doesn't look like many questions are coming in now. Um, do I think we have a chance to re-sign Bell? Yeah. Let me check out his current contract right now. I believe he's on like a $10 million contract. I think last year was a $10 million contract. Sorry, I'm just trying to check right now. Yeah, so this year he's on a $10 million contract. I could honestly, I don't know what his value is. I'm trying to find his value right now. It doesn't look like Spot Track has it, but normally Spot Track has the value of these players. Um, I would love to be able to have Bell back. I mean, the unfortunate thing is the money that you're paying for a first baseman is actually in Boston because we're paying all of Eric Hosmer's contract. So whatever money is supposed to go towards the first baseman essentially can't because it's going to him. Hopefully, Seedler is able to fork up that money. He doesn't seem afraid. Josh Bell is going to be such an integral piece for the back half of the season. And if he proves his worth the way he did in Washington, it's going to be very hard for the Padres to not re-sign him. And I think they will if he's able to have the rest of season that we expect him to have. How does Gallo look as a Dodger? I saw he struck out looking in his first appearance as a Dodger. I mean, typical Joey Gallo. I'm scared that the Dodgers will be able to turn him around, but they're not going to turn him around into like a guy that can hit above 210, 220. He's going to be like a 200 hitter by maybe like a less than 200 hitter by the end of the season. He's always going to be the guy that strikes out a lot. I'm just scared they're going to be able to get the power out of him that he's kind of been missing throughout the season. What's our playoff rotation? So normally guys go into normally we go into the playoffs with the 3-man rotation. I believe for the first series, of course, it's a 5-game series. You're going to have to go in with 3. Essentially, I'd probably go. It feels a little too early to say Clevenger, but just based off the way he's been pitching, based off his former playoff experience and coming in as the best pitcher in all these trades, Clevenger would be my guy that I want pitching in a playoff game. Then Blake Snell, I want pitching in a playoff game, and then I'd probably go with Joe Musgrove. Very hard to leave Yu Darvish out, but I just feel like those 3 are going to give us the best chances to win, only because, Joe Musgrove has been shaky since the All-Star break. I agree, Solo, but, I'm banking on him being able to bounce back. You look at his baseball savant page, everything says he's going to be able to bounce back soon. So hopefully he is able to bounce back, and that's going to be a very solid 3-man rotation to go into the playoffs with. But those are the 3 that I'm riding for sure. It's hard to say. It's hard to say Blake Snell because obviously, I feel like a lot of people are still a little brainwashed off the first, however many starts it was. But in his past 6 starts, he's had like a 2.5 or lower ERA. He's been fantastic. Yeah. I didn't mean to put those guys in any particular order, but my order would actually probably be that now that I think about it: Clev, Snell, Musgrove. And I understand if you want to throw Darvish for sure, because I was very tempted to do so, but I don't want to write off Joe Musgrove off these past few starts, however many starts it's been that he's been struggling. I want to see him another 2 or 3, and then I'll make my decision. What I think of Drury, I don't think he's going to be like Mitch Moreland, just because, Mitch Moreland is just super boring, and, that was like his pop-off season, I think, but Drury has a lot of lineup protection that he didn't have in Cincinnati. If you look at like his expected home runs and everything, his expected home runs in Petco Park was only 3 lower than Cincinnati. So very, very similar. But I'm very excited for Brandon Drury. He only 2 games in, but he looks like he's hitting the ball hard, and I'm excited to see what he's able to do. Also, you're not going to have to rely on him as much as you did Mitch Moreland. I feel like Mitch Moreland, it was a bunch of times he'd come up as like the 5th or 6th batter in the lineup, and he didn't have much lineup protection as Drury has. So very excited to see what Drury does. He's having a career year. He's on a minimum salary, but he's looked good these past 2 games, and he offers much more positional versatility than Mitch Moreland did. Yeah, that's 100% true. This is 100% true. If Blake Snell is on, he's our best pitcher. And typically after the All-Star break, he's on. After the All-Star break, he is like a 2.83 ERA guy. That is what we've been saying. Like, we keep saying this guy is a different guy after the All-Star break, and he's showing it these past 3-4 games, something like that. But even in these past 6, he's been magnificent. Darvish, Snell, and Kleb, I feel like just based off these past few starts from Joe Musgrove, a lot of people are going to go with this, and I'm actually on board with this also. I just, like I said, I want to see Joe Musgrove pitch a few more before I'm completely off board with having him in a playoff game. Yeah, and you can go Clev, Musgrove, then Hader in the ninth. Yeah, exactly. That's why like having these starters is so good because you don't have to rely on the bullpen so much. And nothing against the bullpen. I think it is turning out to be a good bullpen, but it's just really nice to be able to have, if you want to do a piggyback, you go Clev, Snell, Musgrove, whatever, Snell, Darvish. Like that is beautiful in my opinion. Are you mad at Hosmer? Yeah, hell yeah. But at the same time, like I feel like if we kept Voit, we probably couldn't have gotten Drury. And as much as I did like Voit, super fun player, seemed like he loved being in San Diego, but Drury is having a better season. Even if his numbers fall off a little bit, Drury's having a better season. So I'm excited to have Drury. Also a little cheaper, I believe, than Voit was, but I wish nothing but the best to all the guys that went to Washington. Yeah, exactly. Voit didn't really have a role. I feel like if we kept Voit, we don't get Drury though. I feel like AJ like completely steered towards getting Drury after knowing that he was going to have to give up Voit. But I'm pissed at Hosmer no matter what. I hate that he didn't accept the trade, but is what it is. I don't know what the background is, so I don't want to get too much into it. But I don't know. I guess I'm not mad at him anymore, so I wish him the best for sure. It's funny that you guys brought up the playoff rotation. I actually wanted to talk about that earlier, so I'm glad I was able to talk about that. But I'll give you guys like a good few more seconds before I take off. Any questions you guys have left? Let's see. Yeah, I was actually very surprised too. The Cubs are nowhere near being able to contend, and not moving Contreras and Happ is really the dumbest move of the deadline, in my opinion. I mean, they were already like hugging it out and everything, knowing that they were probably going to get traded, and then they end up not getting traded. It's very, very strange that the Cubs weren't able. I don't know if they weren't able to find a suitor or if they just didn't want to find a suitor, but that's like so dumb to not move those guys. I like that he moved regardless because he easily could have kept. Yeah. That's true. I really am glad we got Drury. That was like one of those surprise guys that AJ always seems to get. Hader and Drury are two guys that definitely are the AJ Preller type of additions where like, oh shoot, this is from left field, like off the top rope kind of thing. So yeah, definitely. Final record prediction, I'm gonna go with 90 and 72, I believe. So in order to get there, the Padres only have to win. They have to go 29 and 25, and I just think that's a very safe prediction. 90 wins is a super successful season. Definitely gets you the 4th or the 5th seed, and I mean, typically it gets you like a division win, but not in the same division as the Dodgers. So hopefully, they're able to get to that 90 win mark. Definitely, I hope we take 2 of 3 from the LA, man. I mean, like this is a statement series for sure. Keeping prospects has also burned us in the past. I mean, our prospects typically don't work out. Look at our current team. Even look at the team that started the season. Like prospects are not our thing. Fernando worked out. I don't know if you can really consider Jake Cronenworth like a homegrown prospect. He spent so much time with the Rays, but like think about all the Padres prospects that have failed in our organization. Like I wanted to keep a guy like Mackenzie Gore or CJ Abrams or James Wood just because, yes, they could be amazing, fantastic players, but Juan Soto and Josh Bell are already amazing, fantastic players. So it's okay, like AJ Preller throughout his career, throughout his time as a Padres general manager, has been very good at getting the farm back in shape. So I believe in the next 2 or 3 years, the Padres are going to be back to where they were as one of the top 10, 15 farm systems in baseball. Also, if we end up sucking with Soto, you know how easy it is going to be to trade him away for more prospects. Cubs might keep Contreras. That would be. I just don't understand why try and keep a guy like he probably wants to win. He probably doesn't want to spend much more time in Chicago losing. I don't know. I don't get it. I'm feeling very confident about it as well. I mean, they've been having a lot of fun recently. I mean, even these past two, yesterday's game looked like they were having so much fun, like very reminiscent of the 2020 and early 2021 Padres, where they were just having the time of their lives. That's the Padres team I want to see. I don't think we were going to get Rodon. I was actually kind of surprised that the Giants kept Rodon. Also, I have a Giants fan or I have a Giants friend, I guess, that was actually kind of surprised they kept Rodon because even he knows like they suck. So, I mean, I don't know. We'll see what the Giants do. The Giants are kind of one of those teams that around September they get hot, and then it's like, oh man, they're only 3 games back with like 6, 7 games left, or 2 games back, whatever it is. We absolutely have a chance to re-sign Soto. I don't think we trade for him if we don't have a chance. I think it's a very small chance, but it's a chance. I don't think it's very far-fetched either. But with that being said, I think that's gonna do it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and head out. Enjoy the shit. What day is it today? Enjoy the rest of my Thursday. I hope everyone has a good Friday. Drop your predictions in the comments, whatever it is for this. I'll actually go ahead and preview this Dodgers Padres series real quick. Kind of did earlier, but for anyone who didn't see, I expect the Padres to take 2 out of 3. I expect them to win the Clevenger and Darvish starts. I think those are very advantageous matchups for them. Yes, that Dodgers team is very good, even without a significant deadline. That is a very good team. They have the best record in baseball. They got great pitching. They got a great lineup. And luckily for us, though, we were able to upgrade at the deadline and essentially match their lineup. I think our lineup's very deep. I think our bench is very deep, just like theirs. And I think we're going to be very, very, very competitive with the Dodgers these next 12. I think it's 12 meetings. So I expect to win 2. It's in LA, so hopefully the Padres are able to make a statement this series and show baseball that this is a completely different team than the team that's been getting smacked around by the Dodgers lately. But with that being said, that is going to do it for me. So have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great weekend, and I'll talk to you guys later.